It's over. And we have to come to terms with it. There is no turning back. When you go through an internal shift, it's over. You can't undo it. You can't put it back in the box. You can't fix it. Any type of term. Once you go through an internal shift, it's over. And I'd like to have this deep discussion with all of you out here today amongst these sacred rocks. I'm gonna sit down right here on this here rock and talk to you. Several years ago, when I finally settled down here alone, this place was one of the places that I realized that I made it. I made that timeline jump, and these rocks are very meaningful to me. From where I went through a massive shift in my life, and I relocated, and I went through a storm. We always go through a storm to get to the next stage of our life. It's not easy, okay? So I was like Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz. I didn't know how to get to where I needed to get to, but God knew exactly where I needed to land up. So after everything settled down, I became accustomed to the area, and these rocks, this area, it's a sacred place. It's one of the places where I reflected that I made it. And if I go back in time, in my time machine, in my brain, right? If I go back in time and how I was feeling inside, you know, what was important to me at the time, you know, certain things that maybe I wanted to experience in life. I had an internal frequency when I was sitting on these rocks, and it was a major level up in my life. And now I could sit here upon these rocks today, and it's over. Hello everyone, I am Michael, and I help guide people on their evolutionary journey. Quantum shifting is a real thing, and it is it's something that it changes us forever. You know, reflecting on my life right now, you just can't go back to the past. And it truthfully is over. And there's feelings inside of you that you can't fix. It actually doesn't need fixing, because you were living a certain way, you know, for a sustained period of time, maybe your entire life. And now you went through a frequency shift. And I know this is maybe new to some people, right? When you go through this frequency shift, when you go through an identity shift, you can't put it back. You know, this could come in many different forms, usually through a catalyst event, also known as, it could be a Kensho or a Satori moment. And sometimes we get a Kensho moment, we get an epiphany, or we could have a Satori moment where it's just so beautiful, and you know, you move forward and something shifts inside of you. When I reflect on this year, I've had both Kensho and Satori moments. If this is interesting to you, I did a full video on Kensho versus Satori. These are the moments of our everyday life. And sometimes it could be painful, and sometimes it could be so beautiful and loving. God reaches us both ways. Every single time we have these experiences, it tugs at our heart, all right? And the heart is guiding us. In this world, people, they're riddled with subconscious programming, and they're actually operating out of the subconscious, and they're not living from the heart space. And once you go through like a heart chakra activation, and I've shared my journey about that, it's not a joke. But once you go through that massive shift, a massive shakeup, you can't go back. Now, there is like a segue, if you will. When you go through these massive frequency shifts, it's too much for the physical body. All right, I want you to really pay attention to this message because, you know, it's going to seem interesting, but the physical body with trillions of cells cannot handle it. And, you know, you might have gone through this as well, and share it in the comments, as we're a community, and we have to realize that it's over and we can't go back. And no matter what I do, all right, it's difficult when you simply just, you can't go back. You can't go back to the old way. You can't go back to people, things, and situations, lifestyles, anything from your past. Maybe it was familiar and comfortable, and a lot of these things, they may make you feel ill. It's a dissonant frequency now, and you want to fix it. You say, "Oh, I want to fix it. I want it to go away." The external reality, you go through this void period, and there's a deep sadness because you know what you're putting out, what you're the embodiment of. It's not here in this physical 3D reality. Okay, so the inside is actually the real reality. What you have in your heart is your actual reality. Your true love and passions. All right, this is all inside of you. That's the truth. You know, you might have been doing a job. It's not even you. You're just doing it maybe because of survival. All right, that's why we have to leave from survival and head into thrival. And when we leave survival and head into thrival, that's our identity, and it shifts. We're leaving the obligation and we're going towards creation. So the obligation job or the obligation relationship or the situationship, it's got to fall off. It's got to fail. And it's got to go to the relationship of creation. All right, you want to create. You want to have partnerships, and that's where there's a dissonance right now. So there is a time period when you know that it's over, that you have to go through. This time period is called individuation. Individuation is very important because you have to remember, you are a unique God spark. You are a spark of Christ. You are an individual. However, we are not supposed to be alone and separate. We are supposed to be together. So God is going to put you through this process. You're going to learn something very deep right now. I appreciate if it's resonating so far, if you click the like button. All right, individuation, and then you know thyself. Individuation is the process of knowing thyself, and you will truthfully know thyself when you go through something that's very hard. It hurts me so bad, and then it shakes you up. I'm not tolerating this anymore. I don't want this type of relationship. I'm wasting my time with this relationship. I'm wasting my time with this type of job. Okay, you're wasting your time with routines and rituals in your everyday life. Or you could have a blissful or a peaceful feeling, a moment of bliss. And you say, I want more of that. I don't want to have this crap anymore, right? And then there's going to be a massive shift inside of you, and you're going to get angry, okay? And that's healthy anger. You got to understand healthy anger. You got to understand emotions. A lot of people in the world, they're living like robots, all right? You have to come from the heart space. You got to live your everyday life with emotions and passions, and it's going to drive us to our highest calling, all right? And I had passions, and I wanted to live in an area like this, and now this is part of my everyday life, and I could come out here and be amongst the stones, right? It was always about the stones, light warriors. And when you collect all the stones, you become the most powerful being in the universe. And we've got all the stones, and now it's time, all right, to reflect. Okay, we did everything that we had to accomplish in the previous season. All right, God is going to give us the seasons, and you know that season is over. You've accomplished everything that you had to accomplish in that previous season, okay? And now there's going to be an internal shift, and certain things about this internal shift that are going to drive you banana sandwich. There is this fire energy. This is go, go, go. You got to go. You want to move forward, but you're also exhausted at the same time. Sometimes I like to call it tired and wired. These are the weird ascension symptoms that you're going to feel during the transitional process. This is a time period you have to reflect, you have to come to terms that it's over. And once you come to terms that it is over, you start to think, how am I moving forward? How am I moving forward with my everyday life? Okay, because there's actually infinite amount of possibilities that are out there, but what's not a possibility, ready? What's not a possibility is going backwards. So those seasons that you had, okay, they were seasons that molded you and shaped you, but they don't define you, okay? So you can't go back to those previous seasons, but what you are about to do is move forward into the new. You're moving into the 888 abundance era, and you could hit 888 in the comments if you're ready to receive that abundance. And a lot of people were living their everyday life at a certain level for a long time. And you know, it's ingrained in us. It's part of our journey. So, you know, on our journey, we want to realize that the world is our oyster, okay? And we can have anything that our heart desires. But you can't, you know, do the same thing over and over again. You can't be in the same position over and over again. And, you know, that's insanity. And insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. It's time to change. And, you know, when we've changed on the inside, the external reality is going to shift afterwards. So there is a time lag delay, and this is the frequency, this is the reboot energy that happens. You could restart your computer, your apps, you know, everything restarts and refreshes, and it takes a bit of time, system processing, and that's the period. But you're going to have this self-reflection, and during this self-reflection time, you're realizing, right, because the truth cannot be told, it can only be realized. You're going to realize that your life is over, and the previous version of your life, whatever you were doing, it can't continue any longer. So that's where we are, and this is where we're headed. And where are we headed? We're headed to destination unknown. And, you know, you have to realize that it ain't going to be easy. It's not going to be simple. But if it was easy, everyone would do it. And, you know, just like I'm out here enjoying a beautiful sunset, and I get to share this with all of you, and I get to share it with the community, and the whole community's out. And you have to change your life, all right? People, you know, your diet, your health and wellness, there's something's going to shift inside of you, and you're going to realize, I can't live that way anymore. I can't eat. I can't have those habits anymore, all right? And I gotta be healthy. I gotta get back to nature. And, you know, being out here and, you know, seeing so many people that are disconnected from the matrix. You got to disconnect. You got to disconnect from the matrix, because that life is no more. And there's going to be times where you're going to have to self-reflect, and you're going to realize that it's over and you can't go back. But what you can do is what I've shared with everyone for years, and that is just keep going. You will keep going and moving forward. It is over, and it's difficult, but God has something in store. So what we need to have is faith. It's very difficult for me. I'm sure it's very difficult for you, but you can feel the internal shifts, and the processes are, you are going to feel this density inside of you. There's going to be a lot of pain. There's a lot of traumas that come up, and it's going to sit with you, and slowly it's going to leave you, and then you're emptied out, and you're going to feel lighter, and you're going to have this, it almost feels like that Satori moment. You feel real light. And then you're sitting there, but now, because you were carrying all that density, now you're just empty. So you're not feeling the trauma, but you're just sitting with it. And you're totally empty, and you're ready to receive. You're ready to receive your abundance. You're ready to receive your love, your true passions in life, what you've been putting out. But you're going to have to realize that it's over and you can't go back, and you have to sit with it. And in the void, in that void period, that's where the magic lies. That's where the magic lies. It's over, kid. It's not easy. And, I could be out here today and I wonder, I have no clue where I'm headed. But all I know is everything that I've accomplished, everything that I put out to the universe, and the answer is, ready? Trust the unfolding. I went through the craziest year, and I showed up every day. And I like to be the lighthouse for people. A lot of people will never understand. Again, the pains, the kenshos, they're personal to you. No one will understand it. It doesn't come from the rational mind. People will say, what is this? Because we're all different. Remember the 8 dimensions of wellness, okay? And we go around the wheel. But you go through all of these shifts, all of these changes to reach a place where you're totally emptied out. And then it's time to head to destination unknown. Faith, trust the unfolding. If I sat and did nothing this whole year, and in my mind, I had a different idea, if you will, of how this year would unfold. And it didn't unfold that way. And I'm being very serious right now. I hope the whole world hears this. If you sit there and pout, there are so many things that I've accomplished this year through the pain, through the suffering, because I allowed life to unfold. That's why you have to be a warrior. You have to realize that it's over. And keep moving forward. So that's what I did. And now, like, if I reflect back and it's the twists and turns, we're actually in the quantum. We're in the quantum now. When you're in the quantum, you have to trust the unfolding. So my everyday life has been unfolding. You might be going through the same. So you have to let go. You have to realize that it's over. You can't go back, and just let go, let God, and allow and trust the unfolding. And when you do so, you will become the person that you came here to be. So I love each and every one of you. Have you had this realization? Do you know that it's over? And save this and send this to anyone across the world that is realizing that it's over. This is a transitional process that we all will go through. We're not going to be stagnant. God is going to put us in seasons. They're going to refine us. They're going to make us better. But that we're not to sit there for our entire life. They mold us. They shape us. We move on. It's over. And you have to get strong. And what you need to do is remember. Remember who you are. Remember where you came from. And remember, we cannot control what is around us. However, we can control from within. Be conscious that you always had the power inside of you all along. Use this to raise your vibration and increase your electromagnetism. Life is so much better when we are all together. If you find this message inspiring or know someone that could benefit from it, please share this message. Dear ones, I am Michael. Find us in the 5th dimension. Have a wonderful day living your everyday life. Take the best from your past, bring it forward. Let go and release what no longer is coming with you. Trust the unfolding. Realize it's over. And then you will have a brand new reality. Every season, every cycle. This is our journey. I'm very grateful for each and every one of you. Are you ready to change your everyday life? Grateful for everyone's support. Click the like, click the subscribe button. Daily videos, 9 a.m. Eastern time, to help you become the greatest version of yourself. Healthy, wealthy, and wise. Let's get stronger. Let's get better. Let's expand our consciousness. Let's take back control of our everyday life. If you have a dream, make sure you birth that dream. Keep moving forward. Don't go back. Don't quit. Never give up. These are the seasons. These are the refinements that God puts us in. Look at how much we have already accomplished and how much more we will continue to accomplish.